We in the morning with it. We in the morning with it.
Now look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you gonna play it. You gonna do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
What's really good, my people? Welcome into No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick with me as always. Before we get into it, the morning session, the 8 a.m. session, make sure you go subscribe, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify. Leave us a review. Tell the homies. Do all that. I'm going to drop the intro on the audio, but I wanted to say that live on video. Big Nick the Quick is here. We're obviously we talking NBA playoffs off top. Some big incidents went down yesterday. Trae not playing was a shock. And then it got even worse. Giannis goes down with a sprained knee or hyperextended knee. Images and official diagnostics to come out later today. We're going to talk about Bucks. We're talking Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals, NBA Conference Finals. I want to highlight Khris Middleton. Me and my guy, shout out my dog Ben Etter. We've been in the group chat with Nick the Quick and all these guys, and I've been having some passionate Khris Middleton takes that I want to talk to Nick about. I want to get on wax officially because I'm sick of talking about this dude every other game. I'm gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about Khris Middleton. We also gonna talk about Paul George. Man's putting the Los Angeles Clippers on his back, him and Reggie Jackson. So we got to talk about that. He's been going crazy. I retweeted it too. There's a crazy stat about how many minutes he's been playing in the playoffs. Paul George is doing his thing right now. We clowned him early in the year, so we got to show him some respect, and respect is due. We're talking hoops, man. Big Nick the Quick, what's going on?
It's business, man. You know, we're just in the midst of the Scottie Pippen revenge tour right now, man. It's taking twists and turns you never could have imagined. Scotty's out here, so Scotty's got his book coming out. He's got his bourbon. He's got his bourbon out right now on shelves. He's obviously watched The Last Dance this summer. Didn't like what he saw and felt like, you know what, man, I'm gonna get out there next summer and I'm gonna put my narrative out there. I'll put the Scottie Pippen version of The Last Dance out there, and I think that's what he's doing right now. He had the GQ article with all types of mad wild quotes coming from that. He was on Dan Patrick the other day, called Phil Jackson a racist. Didn't even dance around it. He's racist.
Dan kind of set him up kind of crazy though.
You think so?
He was trying to get clarification on what he meant, and then he's like, you saying this would mean you're calling him a racist. Is that right?
Scottie said, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. He framed him up nice and tidy for it.
Scotty's out here wearing Balmain jeans and graphic tees.
All types of
shit going on. Like,
man.
dog. So, I mean, obviously, let's see where this situation goes. But obviously, the book's not out yet. So I would assume that he's going to have some more mad wild shit and more mad wild quotes. So, I mean, I wondered what his reaction would be because he had to be sitting there watching The Last Dance and being like, yo, this guy Mike is just assassinating me daily for 10 episodes pretty much, right? He has little thing where
a lot of
smoke, man. They covered a lot of Scottie moments. So I think he was like, yo, I'm gonna get out here and I'm gonna get in front of it. It's kind of sad at the same time because it's clear, like I think I heard this on the Bulls podcast yesterday, but like someone said it's clear like Scottie's just not comfortable at this age. Like he's not at that level of comfortability where you really should be after a career like he's had. Right. And between that and, you know, obviously a lot of stuff in his personal life, whether it's the future situation, the Larson situation, like it's been kind of tough sledding for Scottie, man. And I think then you add insult to injury, the most watched documentary probably ever.
He just lost a kid as well.
Did
recently.
He? Oh, yeah.
I believe it was his son, a younger son he lost.
Which is obviously awful.
Yeah, so he's been going through a lot of stuff. So yeah, man, you know, it's all love.
Stop wearing them clothes, man. You look like a clown.
Stop wearing those clothes.
Oh, she had that picture.
It does.
Him and Polo G.
This is the thing. It just comes off. Yeah, shout out Polo G. It just comes off as in one breath, in 1 week, he's saying like, I'm not nothing without Mike. That's how I got here. And in the same sentence, he's talking crazy. I think it's a pure promotional. I got a book coming. I got a whiskey or scotch or whatever it is coming out, bourbon. I gotta ruffle some feathers. I gotta make some noise on Twitter. It's very Kanye Westish, actually.
So you don't think any of it is him also wanting to get in front of some of the narrative from The Last Dance that was out there? You think he doesn't care?
Oh, Last Dance came out last summer.
Yeah. We've been in the house. We've been in the house though, man.
Yeah, no, but I mean that was last summer, and I think he got his takes off about that. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like we weren't pressed for it. He said a lot of things he was going to say about that already.
Yeah.
So whatever, man. Shout out Scottie. It does look like he's looking for something though.
For sure. 100%
You know what I'm saying?
looking for something. Like he should be satisfied, chilling. Well, but if you look at it too, like a lot of the other legends from that era are comfortable. Like Chuck, comfortable. You know what I mean? Like it does his thing. Magic, comfortable. I know he's a little bit before them, but like a lot of these guys have kind of found something in their post-basketball career. Yeah. And it's like, well, what is Scottie Pippen? He's on the jump, used to be on the jump. He's not really the Bulls ambassador anymore. Yeah. I don't know. Have you tried his bourbon? Are you gonna try Digits? That's what we really need to know. Is Digits gonna be around on Sunday? Yeah, I think you need a bottle of Digits on Sunday.
Yo, shout out everybody listening, man. I'm having a 4th of July party. If you're in the Chicagoland area, man, shoot me a DM. I'll probably tell you to come through, kick it, man. I heard it's expensive, like $80 or $90 or some shit.
Oh yeah, no, that's
so
$90 bourbon is
it's quiet for that. I'll go get a bullet and call it a day.
Call it a day.
But what I taste
$90 for Scottie Pippen's bourbon?
I think it's up there on like $80, $90.
Yeah, it's $70.
80 okay, $70. Yeah. So like if somebody pulls up with it, I'll sip on it. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're not rushing to Benny's.
I'm not looking for that. No. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's such a weird. I don't want to get too deep in the pit, but it's such a interesting tier he's in. You know,
right? He's
not Hall of Famer, one of the best hoopers of that generation, without question. But that the respect tier isn't as high, and he did a lot of questionable shit.
Yeah, exactly. I think you hit that right on the head. The respect, he doesn't get that respect that he should.
Have that respect.
Even as a number 2 guy, like it's still like, and I don't think The Last Dance helped that. Like I think he could have came out he might have been thinking like, oh, The Last Dance, I'm going to come out and people are going to see who I really was and all that. And you didn't really get that. It's like, oh wait, this dude decided to say I'm not fucking up my summer. Oh wait, this dude didn't want to go back into the game. Yeah, this dude had a migraine. Like
my lowlights were getting super highlighted.
Yeah. He wanted his money, yada yada yada. So like, yeah, I think that it didn't do anything as far as like, you know, elevating him like level, that. Right. Not like it did for Jordan for some of the young cats who might not have known or might not have been around or whatever the case may be. So yeah, it is kind of sad.
And if you got a checker pass, keep KD's name out your mouth.
Bro, keep your name. Don't leave that man alone. Why don't y'all just leave that man alone? He's told you he's here for it. He's told you he's here for it. He doesn't care if you think he's petty. He doesn't care if you think he's sensitive. He's 100% here for it. He's reading the comments. He's on the Bleacher Report. He's on the what's trending on Twitter. He's listening to all that. Leave KD alone. You don't want that smoke.
If you're not on KD's caliber, which many aren't.
Yeah. Step off.
You don't have multiple finals MVPs. Leave that man alone.
Leave that man alone, bro.
He's coming at your head.
He's coming right at you.
All right, let's get into it. Conference. Oh, that's the wrong graphic. Conference finals. NBA. Still 4 squads left.
Mm-hmm.
Shit just got very interesting.
Injuries.
First of all, the injuries have been insane. Now, actually, now that you say that, I'm gonna pull up an image. There's been so many, dog, that I've honestly forgot about some of these. It's been that crazy because we're talking like 9, 8, 9, 10 superstars. Superstars are strong, but big time dogs on this list. Look at this list. For folks listening, stars to miss games this postseason. I completely forgot about Jaylen Brown. He wouldn't even made my list if I was just writing this down. You know what I'm saying?
They weren't really in the postseason for too long, but he wasn't around. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but they needed him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It might have been a different little story, but maybe not. They were sus all year. But Jaylen Brown, Mike Conley, Anthony Davis. Well, Jaylen Brown with a wrist, Mike Conley with a hamstring, Anthony Davis with a groin, Joel Embiid with a knee, James Harden with a hamstring, Kyrie with an ankle, Kawhi with a knee currently, Mitchell with an ankle, Jamal Murray with an ACL. CP3 had COVID. Trae now has a foot ankle type injury.
Outside of Jalen, they're all lower body injuries.
And then Giannis has now this hyperextended knee.
Yep.
You sound like you were saying that like it has something to do with the wear and tear, you think?
No, I don't know. I mean, look, I'm not gonna look. LeBron, I understand part of that was LeBron doing what LeBron does. When it doesn't go his way, he's gonna come out and let you know why it didn't go his way. Right. As far as the injury thing. But I mean, I think there's also you can't sit here and act like these guys expecting their season to start in January, but then being told it's being started at the beginning of December. Losing those 4 weeks, the quick turnaround from the bubble, the lack of being able to get in the facilities all of last year during COVID, like all those things, these guys were throwing out their routine. The bodies didn't get a chance to heal. If you think about the Lakers and the Heat, I mean, they had like a month and a half, really? Like it was just a couple months. And you're right back. You're really right back into that thing. And really all those guys had a shorter break. So you can't sit up here and act like, everything that we've learned about rest and recuperation and all that, you throw it out the window when it comes to talking about this NBA season. Like there's definitely a correlation to a lot of these non-contact injuries, right? You talk about these hamstrings and these groins and stuff like that. That's pulling shit. That's tightness. That's your body hasn't had the proper time to heal and recuperate and get back to 100%. Yeah. And if you look at these playoffs, and maybe this is just me, I don't recall there ever being a playoffs where it was literally every other game. Every other day. Like there's no 2-day breaks in these playoffs. So if it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it's even to the point where some of this, I'm like, I forget what it was a couple weeks ago. We had all those game sevens. I'm like, why is there a Saturday night game 7? Why wouldn't you push all of these to Sunday on Father's Day? It was last week. It's like, why wouldn't you have just pushed all these? But it's like they're going on this 1-day thing.
Know
like
why?
They're so tight with it. So remember there used to be like when you do that travel, there'd be that extra travel day. There's no extra travel day.
I'll put it like this. I over all of our years watching hoops, I've never felt like I didn't have to check if there was a game that night because there's a game every single night.
Every single night.
I don't care how many teams are left. There's been a game every fucking night, no matter what. So
like last night I was like, man, just please, is there a game? Like I don't want to watch a game right now. Like give me a night off.
No, man.
It just starts taxing on your relationship. Like all you're doing is watching basketball. So
no cap. Your girl's like, dog, this shit is really every single day.
Yeah, like I want to watch something together. It's like you got to figure out times. Like, all right, this game will be over at like 9:30. We can slide that on the TV and go to bed. You know what I'm saying? So I think all that matters, man. And you're seeing it in some of these injuries. Now, a lot of it's going to happen regardless. It's not like there weren't injuries in basketball before COVID and time off and stuff like that. But the amount of them that there are and the fact that they're still happening, and you just saw in the last 4 days, the 2 biggest stars in the Eastern Conference Finals go down. So
so going into the game,
a correlation. Yeah,
going into the game, Trae Young announced he's out. That fluky ass shit. That shit was, man, that's one of the flukiest ankle turns I've seen.
Yep.
Like that was some fluky ass shit for him to pull up on a jumper and pull it, step back and step on buddy's ankle like that.
Yeah.
That was super fluky. But going into the game, I'll tell you this. Going into the game, it's announced that Trae Young is out and the line only moved 2 points. I thought that was
sauce.
Super telling.
What was it? It
went from 7.5 to 9.5, depending on what shop you're looking at. But
the Bucks were getting 7.5?
No. The Hawks were getting 7.
The Hawks were getting 7.5.
Yeah, the Hawks were getting 7.5 with Trae, and then he goes down, and it goes to 9.5. And I'm like, because of course they announced Trae's out, they pull it off the board, and I'm like, man, how many points is Trae worth? He got to be worth like 5 points.
Yeah, right.
Like this shit's about to be like 12.5, 13, and for it to go up 2 points. For it to go up 2 points, I was like, man, that's super sus. But yeah, and they came out from the jump and were on them heavy. It was my girl's birthday last night, so I was rushing and watching the game this morning before we hopped on. I was able to record it, and fast forward through the breaks and jump through dead spots when I could. But what'd you think about the game last night? Hawks win 110-88. Came out hot, never looked back. And that was when Giannis was on the floor. When Giannis went down, they were up 10.
Yeah.
So
up 8. That was the 10th. The 10th point when he got hurt. But yeah.
So it's not like, hey, they were winning the game and then Giannis went down and then they fell off. They were losing the whole way.
Yeah, and they were starting to make a little bit of a run, but they couldn't sustain a run. One thing about the Hawks, it is hard to sustain a run against Atlanta because they just got so many guys that can just put the ball in the basket.
Well, hold on, because I kind of feel that way, but on the flip side, I don't, because I've also seen them get blown out in so many spots where it's like
game 2.
They all of a sudden can't hit anything.
Yeah.
And then they're just getting run off the floor. And then I've seen teams, like when they start to get the ball rolling, teams kind of seem to scramble. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think they just got off to a hot start last night and never looked back. Like, that's what they needed to do. They did exactly what they needed to do. If I'm McMillan at the beginning of that game, I'm saying, look, we have no Trae. We need to come up and go up 10-0. And at that point, keep our foots on the gas. If we go down early in this game, we don't have Trae to come in here and hit 3 huge threes and floaters and just go crazy. Like, we don't have that. So what we really need to do is come out the game hot, make sure we prioritize that first 5 minutes of the game, and then again, never really look back. And I think they did a great job of doing that. I think Giannis going down obviously helped them in that second half. I get that they were still up 10 at that point, but talking about 2-time league MVP and one of the best players in the NBA, and losing him for the final 18 minutes of that game is absolutely huge, and they did exactly what they needed to do. Shout out Sweet Lou Williams, filling in for Trae very nicely. 21-8, 7-9 shooting, did his thing. Huge veteran presence. Herder had a good game. There was a Cam Reddish sighting last night. I think he had 12. So overall, they just played a good game, man. That was a good Nate McMillan game. I think he had them prepared for what they need to do. They probably knew a lot earlier than we did that Trae wasn't going to play. And I think he adjusted correctly. And that's why it's good to have a guy like Lou Williams on the bench, because if you come to him and be like, hey, Lou, you're playing 35 minutes tonight and you're starting at point guard, he's 100% ready to do that.
Lou's face lit up when they told him to start.
Sure. Great.
He said,
let me finish the lemon pepper and I'm going to get in the game.
He said, hold on. Y'all about to give me 30 plus minutes?
In the crib too?
What?
And I'm from out here? Like, easy.
Wait, y'all finna start me?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Scared.
So
look,
here's the quote from Lou. He said, I knew about an hour before the game that I was going to start. When they said Trae was out, so I just had to refocus my energy and put that different hat on and get ready for the game. Come on, Doc.
It's nothing. He knows. He's been here before.
Lou ready.
Okay, I'm not coming in to be microwave. I'm coming in. I got to get everybody going, and he did that. 8 dimes, set the tone for them. Smart basketball. Again, I think that was a Nate McMillan, very well coached Nate McMillan game. I think that Bud on the other side of that, how do you not come out in that game and just thrash them? Like, this team is Trae Young and a bunch of other pretty good guys, but they go as Trae goes, right? And they have the entire playoffs, and that's not some revelation. Like, we know that. And the fact that you come out and you're not smacking these boys around, you should be smacking them around with Trae. Without Trae, you should come out 20-0 and put them away. The same mentality the Hawks had, like, let's get up early and just keep our foot on the gas. Yours is let's get up early and let's put them away. Let's demoralize them. Let's make them realize that Trae is not going to come and save them, and let's win this game by 30 points. That's it. It's the whole thing with the Bucks is this inconsistency in situations like that. Like, that is 100% a game you should have came out and smacked them around. I don't care if it's in their building. I don't care where it is. You're the elite team, right? You're considered to be one of the best teams left, the best team left, a finals favorite. Like, come out, go up 3-1, and make it an easy closeout at home. Why? We told you 2 weeks ago, stop fucking around with Atlanta. Stop letting them hang around. They operate off confidence. That's it. They operate off confidence. You cannot let these teams that operate off confidence hang around, think that they can win. Because now you're looking at a situation, it's 2-2. We don't know Giannis' status for game 5. We don't know Trae's status for game 5. But you go down 3-2, man, you're in a tough spot now. Because you got them in a closeout game against a team with this much confidence. And all they've shown you all playoffs is that in their head, they belong. So they're not going to lay down. They're not going to fold. You needed to put them away. I thought this game, obviously the story is going to be Giannis, but the real story should be a huge missed opportunity by the Milwaukee Bucks to go up 3-1 and pretty much
them in,
close out at home and then wait for the Phoenix and the Clippers thing
to tuck him in. And like you said about McMillan, well, from what I watched this morning, because I'm fresh off the game, he just managed it really well.
Really well.
Timeouts when they need it. Timeout, man.
Yeah.
I'm such a huge fan of that. I'm banging timeouts. I like anytime. There's so many spots where I'm like, man, why are teams giving up 10, 12-0 runs? Like, gee, call a timeout, bro. I understand you're trying to make it to the TV, the TV break or the media timeout or all types of different situations. But man, anytime a sniff of Milwaukee getting back in the game was showing up, Nate just banged the timeout and put that shit to bed early.
And that's great coaching. It's the same thing we talk about in the NFL, man. Like, look, X's and O's and all that is great. Like, I get it. Like, for sure, you need to have that. But the real good coaches are able to manage the clock, whether that's a football situation, which is obviously a lot different, or in basketball, managing the time, managing the flow of the game, stopping runs, making timely substitutions. Like, those are the things that truly matter. And I think McMillan has done an excellent job of that this year. All things considered, and really in these playoffs. Like, if they would have gotten swept in this series, I would still say the same thing. But now, I mean, look, we can't sit up here and be like, yo, Milwaukee's still going to win this series without a doubt. Like, the question marks for me after last night are all over the place. Like, I could 100% see the Atlanta Hawks winning this series.
You're talking about without Giannis.
Yeah, and I could also see the Bucks coming in and beating the next two games by 50 points. Like, that's the reality of this particular series for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But hold on, I'm pulling up before we get into this Khris Middleton banter. Let me ask you this flat out. Can they beat the Hawks without Giannis? Let me just ask you that straight away.
Can the Bucks beat the Hawks without Giannis?
Yeah, what does your gut tell you about,
Yes, they can.
Yes.
Yeah.
You think so? What about if Trae comes back?
Yeah, I think they can. Yeah, I don't think it's like, oh, it's over with. It becomes much more difficult. I mean, because here's what you're relying on. And I know that we're going to get into this. I know you've been chopping at the bits to talk about it, but you're relying on a guy who this playoffs has really shown you his inconsistency. Like, the Middleton highs, game 3, high, right? Like, the highs can be very, 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 very high. In game 3, he single-handedly won that game for him, right? He did. He had 20 points in the fourth quarter, all timely buckets, all in rhythm, put him away, tuck them in, right? So he is capable of doing that. The problem is he also has games. If you look at his game log in the playoffs, it's really telling. Look,
hold on, I got it right here.
Series, it's really telling.
I got it right here. Funny you said that.
Yeah.
Let's get into the Khris Middleton chat.
I'm sure you did.
We're going to talk about Khris Middleton because I've been arguing about this. Well, first of all, let me give you some context. We've been talking, me and Nick, about hoops over the years, and the reason going into the year we couldn't back Milwaukee fully, this is before everybody got injured and all that shit. We were talking about who's going to win the title, who's got a real chance to win the East, and our big thing on Milwaukee was who's going to close the game out. They have the same issues they had the year before and the year before that. Giannis can't have the ball down the stretch. Nick Nurse exposed exactly what you need to do to stop him. He can't get to the free throw line. And Khris Middleton, shout out Nick Nurse. And he doesn't have a close. Khris Middleton is not that guy to close out games and come down and get you buckets at every sense.
Consistently enough is not that guy. Yeah, yes.
Consistently enough to close out games.
He has done it, but yes,
Yeah, that's the simple fact.
Can't set your clock to him.
Yes, absolutely not. Yeah. Like, simple as that, right? So here's Middleton's last 10 games. And we've been going back and forth. Yo, look at the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. So last night he shoots 35%. They go 6 to 17. Then he has he probably has the best game of his playoff career. The game before against the Hawks in Milwaukee, where just what Nick highlighted, where he scored 20 in the fourth. Then he has 13 shots. They rolled that night, so it didn't matter. But 6 of 23, 9 of 26, 8 of 22, 12 of 25. That's not a bad game, but 7 of 20. There's a lot of 35% nights in here. He's just not consistent, man. Simple as that. You can't count on him. We talk about it quite a bit. And I think, it goes back to what we were saying is you can't close. If I have to count on Khris Middleton to close out a game consistently, I'm hard-pressed to do it. Can he do it? Sure, he's shown that, but it's not very consistent, and he has worse games than he does big-time closeout games and show-up games for me.
So I think the biggest issue with Middleton, and I guess his deficiencies, and his deficiencies are the inconsistent shooting. I'll give him this, man. Like, he's not Ben Simmons. He's not going to go out there and shoot the ball 4 times. The one thing that did stick out to me on those shooting stats, he's always putting it up 17, 18, 19, 20 times, right? Like, so he is going to take those shots. He's not going to shy away from the moment in the sense of I'm not shooting the ball. He's just not making them in a lot of those situations. I'll say this, man. Playing with Giannis really highlights Middleton's inconsistent deficiencies, right? Because Giannis is a superstar that can't necessarily carry you down the stretch from a shot making and free throw perspective. He really needs a number 2 that can do that consistently, a high level 2, like a very, very high level 2.
But that's what we're arguing. Isn't that supposed to be him?
100%. And I think that's where you have a point. Like, I think you go overboard with it by saying he's trash and he's average and stuff like that. Khris Middleton is a really good player. Like, he's a multi-time all-star. He's a really good player. If you were to put him in a different situation with a different number 1, you would be fine with Khris Middleton. If you could put him with a number 1 that can also make shots down the stretch, and Khris Middleton is just like your second dish, fine.
Wow,
the problem is
we got to get Khris Middleton another number 1.
Yes. Well, he's not number 1. You need to get him a number 1. Is Giannis a number 1 is the real question. Because Middleton's not really a 2 if Giannis isn't really a 1 like that. So the problem with Middleton is that he's thrust into a role on this team that needs him to be a 1B, right? Like, this team, because of Giannis's deficiencies, it's like playing with Ant Davis. And Anthony Davis can hit shots and free throws down the stretch, but it's like playing with any other big, I guess you would say. You need to have that perimeter player that can come and make shots, threes, things like that down the stretch. And the problem with Middleton is, especially in this playoffs, he has just had some very, 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 very bad games, very bad shooting games. He's had his 6 for 23s. He's had his 5 for 20s. And they seem to happen in really bad spots like last night. So on that case, you're 100% right, man. His inconsistencies show through at the worst time. And in this playoffs where they've absolutely needed him to be a closer because teams are loading up on Giannis with this free throw thing, they know exactly what to do. He just hasn't been able to rise to that occasion. If Khris Middleton was your number 3, you would be happier than a pig in shit. You'd be like, oh, this is great. This guy, because he'd be a high level number 3. If your number 1 was, this sounds stupid, like Kevin Durant or somebody like that, you'd be like, great, give me Middleton. Awesome, man. Do your job when I need you to, right? Like, be available when I need you to. The problem is you need him to be more of like a 1B. And he's not that, man. He lacks the consistency. And that's it. That's really what it comes down to. He is so inconsistent. And he's a shooter, too. The problem is he's prone to shooting slumps. And they happen at bad spots. But we can't discount the other things that he does for them. But again, the number 1 thing he needs to do right now is score points in bunches.
Yes,
he needs to score points in bunches. He needs to be putting up 30 points a game, and he can't consistently get you to 30. And I think he showed me in those last 10 games, there was 3 30-point games in there. But there was a lot of 15s, a lot of 16s, a lot of 19s, a lot of sub-20 games that you can't have. He's either putting up 30 or putting up 19.
Bro, his last 4 games is 16, 38, 15, 15.
And he's been awful in this series.
Come on, dog. Stop it.
He's been awful. 15
points.
They should not be struggling with the Atlanta Hawks.
15 points. Yeah, dude. Come on. Stop it, bro. And the Hawks have gotten a lot better defensively under McMillan.
For sure.
Yeah. They've gotten a lot better with that. But I don't want to hear that shit, man.
Three games under 16 points is pretty telling in the conference finals for a number 2.
This is my biggest thing, bro.
But then the one game where he was over that is the game where he was the hero and he won the game for them. So it's like, as soon as you want to kill him, he'll go and do that. And that is the definition of inconsistency.
Dog,
you
Nick,
can't guess what you're going to get from him on any given night.
What have I been saying about Buddy in the group message? I'm like, yo, he's probably going to go nuts next game.
Yeah.
Like, he's probably going to go crazy. And then, just like next game, he'll probably have a good-ass game next game. And then he'll show up next game and he'll go 5 for 30 or whatever it is, 5 for 27, 7 for 28. And this is what I wrote in the group message. Because Eder, our guy, goes, but what about the defense rebounding and creating shots for other guys? Dog, I don't fucking want to hear that shit with Khris Middleton in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Dog, give me, yo, you know what I want from Khris Middleton for them? Give me 32 and 3
every night.
I don't want to hear about Khris Middleton 8 assists. Like, that's not his gig. Sure, does it help the squad win? Yeah, but dog, they need him to score points in bunches, like you said. The guy is inconsistent. I honestly, bro, I really truly think that he's like playoff Khris Middleton is a regular dude. There's nothing about him that screams like this dude is a killer. This dude's elite. This dude's a regular fucking 2-guard in the playoffs, and he's been like that all playoffs. And every time he had a great game the other night, best game of his life. When you need him to come up in consistent spots, I don't trust him to do it. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen when you need Khris Middleton to show up. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like we just looked at his line the last 4 games for a $33 million number 1B2 option, 2-guard, all-star 2-guard. He has 15 points. Stop.
He is not good enough for his situation. I think you just hit it on the head. He's not good enough to be the number 2 on a title contender. He's not good enough to be your number 2 who makes $35 million a year. He's not good enough to be, or consistent enough to be the guy you put next to Giannis. Like, that is the biggest failure, again, because Giannis is such a unique superstar in the sense of he can do a lot, but the things that he can't do, he cannot do. And a lot of those are things that matter in the final 5 minutes of the game. You need someone to take the pressure off him. That's why I was beating the James Harden drum. I said, why? Yo, look at the package. And I don't want to keep rehashing that, but I don't understand why it hasn't been talked about more, especially when you look at the package that Houston got. Houston got a bunch of picks that'll never convey anything good, and Oladipo, who they ended up flipping. They got nothing for James Harden. Absolutely nothing. If you're Milwaukee, you can't make that same deal. You don't have a Oladipo equivalent. Like, that's what I'm saying, man. Harden was the perfect player to play with Giannis because you're not running into these issues down the stretch.
And here's Giannis talking about Middleton closing out the game conveniently after the best game of his playoff career.
We're talking about, like, how long are you going to play for? You know, we just had a silly conversation. And he, like, I'm not going to say exactly what he said, but, like, I told him, I said, hey, the day you retire is going to be the toughest day in my career. Because, like, I've been with you the whole time, and it's been an unbelievable journey. It's great seeing this guy, man, where we started, where we are, where he started, where he is right now. I just said closing games. And that's what we need from Khris. We need him to, be aggressive. We need him to taking over games, make good decisions, and play off him.
That doesn't happen, though. He said what they need. He said Giannis laid out what he needs to happen and what he needs help with. He's just not that guy, man. Simple as that. That's all. That's my biggest thing is people try to slot him in this elite 2-guard spot, and I don't see it. And I don't know what needs to happen for. Like, I just don't get it. I don't know what games everybody else is watching. And there's some people that are on my side, but there's guys like Eder who I respect his hoop opinion. I just don't know what he's watching. I really can't figure it out. It happens consistently. He just comes out, chucks up a bunch of bullshit, and then gets 9 rebounds. And then people are talking about, oh, but he is contributing. I'm not trying to hear that, man. I need baskets. I need CJ McCollum type buckets when we need them.
CJ.
You feel me?
Yeah. He's consistently inconsistent.
All the time.
In the playoffs. Playoffs in particular.
And I'm not talking about like mediocre games. I'm talking about horrendous games.
Bad games, yeah.
Really bad games.
Under 20. This is a guy, he averages 20 for the regular season, and he has multiple games in the playoffs that he doesn't.
So. He gets passive. There's a lot of shit that I could talk about, man. Shot selection, all types of stuff, man. But I digress. I don't trust Khris Middleton. We'll see. Hey, you wanna be a number 1A, number 1B option? Well, you get ready to be one in a second. In a couple days.
Yeah, you'll see it.
Like he's gonna have to score 30. Let's see.
40.
How about this? We're talking about Khris Middleton needing to show up with Giannis playing. What's it like? Let's see what my man does when Giannis is not coming out, and he has to show up in a big spot. So stay tuned, man. Y'all know where I'm at on Khris Middleton. All right, let's move over to the West Side, LA. Clippers, Suns.
Scary hours.
Spooky hours in Phoenix, dog.
Scary.
Yeah, the Clippers.
It's a scary sight.
The Clippers seem to get cozy when it's 3-1, apparently. I thought they were in a really bad spot going to Phoenix down 3-1, needing a massive game out of Paul George. Devin Booker's coming off 2 really bad games. He's likely to go for 30 plus. He's due for 28, 35 type style game. He ends up getting that. Doesn't matter for the Clippers. The Clippers come out, do their thing, get the W. Paul George continues to do everything the Clippers ask of him. I saw a stat.
Really elite right now.
Yo, simple as that. Simple as that.
Really elite right now. Like, I didn't really give him much shit for his play.
Yeah.
I gave it to him for a lot of his comments on some of the things that he was saying and doing, and just his whole demeanor. And I thought it was like I told you, man, I still think he's a very insecure guy. And that was showing through in some of those interviews, whether he's talking about my MVP year or whatever it was. But look, man, we here on the No Catch Up Pod give credit where credit is due.
100.
And I guess we need to kill more guys because we killed Paul George all year, and look what happens. I mean, it's like a going theme. If we kill a guy, he shows up and starts performing. So we need to kill. we need to kill Justin Fields come back to August. Remind me to just rant on Fields and anything he does.
Yeah.
If he wears something grimy, just let me know. I'm gonna kill him.
Real.
With that being said, man, Paul George is on a tear. Paul George is showing you why he is Paul George, why he has been a number 1 before. I think I said it last week. He looks much more comfortable without Kawhi because he's not really sitting there being like, okay, is it my turn to shoot or do I need to defer to Kawhi? He's just like, I am the show here. And obviously Ty Lue has done a great job just putting the ball in his hands. Like he said, hey, it's you. We're going to go as you go. You're making the passes. You're getting the rebounds. You're shooting the ball. You're doing everything for us, and you're going to be playing 40, 41, 42, 43 minutes a night, and this is what we need you to. And he is completely locked in, completely comfortable. Has erased the memories of the bubble last year, in my opinion, regardless of what happens in this series. I think Paul George has reestablished himself because with that, when Kawhi went down, we were all like, oh, this is over with. And he's down. I don't want to hear when Kawhi is coming back. Kawhi tore his ACL. He just hasn't told you yet. Like, let's just stop the cap. Kawhi is not coming back anytime soon. His ACL is tore. He's not playing again in these finals or in these playoffs. Unless something changed that I don't know about in the last 24 hours.
I don't know about tore, but he's not coming back.
He's not coming back. He's hurt. Yeah, like, he's very hurt.
Injured.
He's not on the bench. He's sitting up in the booth. Like, whenever a dude's up in the skybox, like it's a wrap. You know what I mean?
That's the most Kawhi shit, by the way. Like, if it's like, nah, I'm not. Come down to the bench.
I don't even know these guys' names. I just know their numbers. You want me to sit next to 11? I don't even know his name. I don't want to talk about anything. Hey, 23. So anyways, but yeah, I mean, back to Paul George. On a tear, man. 41 on Monday. Fucking 23, 27, 26, 34. And the assists, the playmaking, getting everybody involved. And he's found his running mate in Reggie Jackson. Listen, I called you the other day, and we'll get back on PG, but I called you the other day and I said this. Reggie Jackson was on his way out of the league.
Yes.
He was one of those guys where it's like, hey, we paid him. We tried to give him a team. It didn't work out, and now we have nowhere place to slot him because he thinks he's better than he is. It's hard to bring him off the bench. Like, we're just done with this guy. He's done. He'll be out the league. He'll resurface somewhere in China. As Eder likes to say, he needs to sharpen up on his Mandarin. Well, right now he needs to sharpen up on his financial acumen because he's about to get fucking paid. Yes. He went from out the league to coveted free agent sixth man in a matter of 2 weeks on this Clippers run.
Buried on the bench.
He was the 13th guy. He wasn't even playing.
Buried on the bench at one point. He gets some Oakley goggles, and he's a completely different
player. Confident OD.
Confidence is out of control. He's hitting threes. He's looking for shots. He's going to the basket. All of a sudden, he punches everything.
Punching on folks.
Hey, he punches everything at the rim all of a sudden. He's not even thinking about laying the ball up. That's out of the question. He's just a different dude. Reggie Jackson, big time salute from Reggie. He's been going ballistic, dog.
Wait, where was this story? I think it was on some pod I was listening to the other day. So he's like one of those crazy confident dudes. And I know when he was in Oklahoma City, he actually had some problems with Durant and Westbrook because he thought he should be starting. So I guess there was a situation where there was before a game, like his rookie or second year or something like that. And he thought he should be starting. So he wrote on his shoes, SPG, which stood for starting point guard while they had Russ Westbrook on the team.
Yo, that's some who's my man that used to play with LeBron? One of our favorites.
Deion Waiters?
That's Deion Waiters level. Dog.
Tell that Waiters story.
Yo, really quick. I heard this from a couple people. Oh, I heard this from TJ Ford.
Shout out TJ
I believe.
Ford.
Yeah, shout out TJ Ford. We were in New York. He was at our guy D Will's house, and he was telling this story. And long story short, he essentially said that in practice in Cleveland, when Deion Waiters was playing with LeBron, that there was multiple occasions where Deion Waiters was in practice and LeBron, he was like clapping at LeBron to like, yo, give up the rock, to pass me the rock. Yo, like, yo, I'm here. I need the rock.
Waiters, I need that.
Yeah, like, and eventually LeBron got sick of it, and they're like, yo, come on,
this guy has to go.
Get this guy out of the fuck. Get this guy out of practice. I can't do this dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Deion Waiters level of confidence for sure.
But it's working for him now. I mean, again, the dude was out the league. He was out the league, or maybe a minimum on like the Kings. Like that's where he was headed towards. Like the Kings is pretty much out the league, right? It's like another Euro team. You know what I mean? Like Europe West.
The first step.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, shout out Reggie, dog. He's been playing unbelievable.
Balling like crazy. But back to PG. Yeah, I mean, this is it, man. I mean, he talked a lot of shit, right? And clearly the bubble affected him, and getting out the bubble, he had a great regular season, and he's followed it up with the spectacular playoffs.
Yo, real quick, let me highlight kind of what you're saying on PG that I think he's not shying away from the rock.
Not at all.
Yo, give me the rock. Give me the rock every possession. Come down, give me the rock. I'm going to either go to the bucket. Like you said, I'm going to make something happen for somebody else. If it's Morris, if it's getting Reggie an open look, if it's getting Batum an open look, whatever. But he's not shying away from the rock. I think that is the biggest thing I want to show Paul George love for. All the hate he would get was he was coming up very small in big-ass spots. Any pressure type situation, he's throwing shit off the backboard. Then he's saying that, the bubble's not – I'm having a hard time with this, with that. And a lot of the comments, he was bringing the hate on himself. But right now, he's not shying away from the ball. He's calling for the rock. Anytime the shot clock's running down, he's calling for the rock. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. I'll go get us a little mid-range jumper. I'll go do what I got to do. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. I'm Paul George, and I'm locked in, and I'm the best player on the floor right now. That's what he feels like. That's how he's been. Yeah, that's how he's been playing. And it's hard to argue that.
You can't.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say with it, man? I mean, he's been given the opportunity, and he's stepped up huge, and especially these last 4 games, or was it 5 games without Kawhi, 6 games without Kawhi. He's done his thing, man. Like you can't knock it. And I think if you're the Clippers and if you're Ty Lue, like, yeah, this should show you something, man. And I think when you look at Kawhi, like when he does come back next year, whatever it is, Kawhi doesn't necessarily want the ball in the sense of like, yo, create for others. Kawhi is here for one reason. He's told you this repeatedly. I just want to shoot the ball. I want to get my points and I want to go home. So if you're discovering now, like, yo, we should be really running through Paul George and then letting Kawhi do his thing when it's that time, that might be the formula for them. Like, because Kawhi, he's not trying to be James Harden. He told you guys, go get a point guard, go get someone to handle the ball. That's not why I'm here.
Yeah.
That's not why I'm here. I'm here to get to my spot, shoot my little flat mid-range, get 30, and put my foot on people's throats, and then that's that. So you might have discovered something here, man. I think Paul George is really showing all his tools. Shout out Paul George, man.
Look sharp. Hey, man, real shit. He's been doing his thing, dog.
Yeah.
Do you want to give some love to Ty Lue?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I think that look, man, Mr. Down 3-1, Mr. Adjustments. The players have talked about it. I think they called him Belichick.
Isn't that a wild stat? The best record of all time facing elimination.
10-2, right?
Like
he's 10-2 in elimination games.
Like you get your squad into a position where they're about to lose. And then you just can't lose all of a sudden.
They showed it. I think it was 10-2 in elimination games, which is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know what happened. To get to those spot 12 times is crazy.
To get right. That's why it's such a crazy stat. It's like he's 10-2 in an elimination game. It's like, but to get into an elimination game, you gotta be losing a lot of games.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
Yeah,
so I mean, he makes good adjustments. I mean, as much as we clown on Budenholzer for not making any adjustments, the one thing Ty Lue will do is make a. We talk about Reggie Jackson. We talk about a guy who wasn't playing, going to playing 40 minutes a night, 35, 40 minutes a night, and being your absolute number 2 during this run. So
Kennard, Boogie Cousins, he's been playing.
He's going deep into the bench.
Yeah, he's doing what he's got to do to get a different flavor.
Let me get who I can. Yeah, Boogie, you were on ice for most of the year. Like, let me see what you can do. If you're not good, we'll bring in somebody else.
Boogie scored 10 points in like 11 minutes already.
Yeah, he still got that. Hey, he still got that. This is a former 25, 26, 27 point per game scorer. In spurts, he can still give you that.
You got to get him right by the basket now.
You got to get him right by. He's not.
I feel so. Man, Boogie used to be, man.
He's actually like a tragic situation because he truly never got paid.
Yeah.
Like, remember, he was about to get paid and then all that. He got traded, got hurt. Like, it's been bad. So shout out to him for staying in the league. But I mean, that's the other thing. Ty Lue is doing with this with a lot of guys who are like just clawing their way to stay in the league. Like, whether it be Boogie, Reggie Jackson, some of those type guys. So yeah, I mean, shout out them. I still think the Suns are going to win this series, but they need to win Game 6. Please don't go to 7 games with these guys because that's real spooky. That's real spooky.
Well, okay, let me ask you this. But Game 7 at the crib, Chris Paul, right? That shouldn't be that spooky.
I mean,
Game
five,
7 is
Game 5 was at the crib, close out. It was right there for the taking.
Yeah.
It was right there for the taking. Chris Paul's back. You got everybody healthy.
This has the feeling that whoever wins Game 6 is going to win the whole series. That's what it feels
tonight.
Like
Tonight is the series.
Like that, it does feel like that to me.
Yeah. And if I'm Chris Paul, I'm like, guys, we need to fucking go out there and handle business. Like, no bullshit. We need to handle business tonight. Please don't. You do not want to go into Game 7. I've been there before. Like, let's not do it. And Chris Paul told you that interview, was it Rachel Nichols, whoever it was,
3-1.
Like, don't talk to me about 3-1. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it. So which I thought was telling, like it's in his head. Like he knows.
He
knows. I've been here before. I've been here with the Clippers before. I've been here with the Rockets before. Like, I know what can happen in these situations where you think all we got to do is win 4 more quarters. And next thing you know, you're playing Game 7 and your back's against the wall. Because at that point, if you're up 3-1 and you go to Game 7, you are no longer in the driver's seat. That's the key thing. You are no longer in the driver's seat at that point. Those first 4 games where you dominated 3 of them, it does not matter. Because you have lost the last 2 and that other team is riding high off confidence. We talk about with players all podcasts, confidence. You don't want to be that team that was up 3-1 playing in that Game 7. I don't care if it's in your fucking living room. You're you know what I mean? Your back is against the wall at that point. And you no longer have the advantage. So they need to handle business tonight. Phoenix should win by 40 tonight. That's the mentality they need to have, especially now knowing that, Giannis could be unhealthy or maybe you either get a limping Bucks team or the Hawks. This is it. This is your moment, man. If you lose it in this one, if you're Chris Paul, you might retire. It's like, you know what? Hey, it wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be because the stars are lining up for you, man. So
let me ask you this.
Tonight.
Let me ask you this. What are you? You're the Suns. You're Monty.
Yeah.
What are you? What's the game plan? How do you slow up Paul? You just run Jay Crowder at him and then run a couple other people at him.
You make him
make him super uncomfortable.
You let everybody else beat you.
Just get the rock out of his hands.
Get the rock out of his hands.
That's it.
He's been lightning. Get the rock out of his hands. So that's what you got to do. But really, you got to score some points offensively too. You can't come out and put up 100 points. What they won game 3, scoring 86 points. So you got to get something going offensively. You got to get Book going. You got to get CP3 going.
That pace,
those type of things. Yeah, 100%.
The pace, man. Momentum is such a wild thing.
100%.
Because when the Suns are pushing pace, and then if it's Chris Paul or Cam Payne, and Cam Johnson and Bridges are hitting shots, they look like the fucking Globetrotters.
Yeah.
And then extra pass. D Book on the wing. Here goes Jay Crowder on the wing. So, yeah, man, it's going to be an interesting game tonight. I think. What's the line tonight? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Let me see if I got it too. Because and real quick to close out that Paul George, because I wanted to make sure folks heard this if they didn't read this the retweet. Paul George in the playoffs is now. This is as of a couple nights ago. So yeah, this is as of the last game. Paul George has played 735 minutes in the playoffs. That's the highest in the league. The next person is Trae Young at 568.
Yeah, so Paul George has a lot of miles on that body right now.
That is a crazy
because they keep going to fucking game 7 every series.
Yeah. So he's got a lot of mileage. He's been playing big time minutes, man. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that was laid out. I thought that was a really interesting stat. You get the number?
No, I thought you were looking it up.
Okay, no, I got it. I got to pick 'em, dog.
Is it?
Minus 110 pick 'em, 215 total. Wow.
It's a pick 'em.
A pick 'em. Wow.
Yeah. You might be able to find Clippers -1 somewhere.
Man, give me Phoenix, dog.
Yeah.
I'll take Phoenix out of pick 'em.
Yeah, I think you should.
Give me Phoenix in LA.
Well, this is spooky.
This
is like Halloween H2O 2021 spooky popping off right now.
Because
it's scary hours.
Clippers need Paul George to continue to go crazy. The Clippers need Reggie Jackson to continue to go crazy. If I had to pick, I mean it's obviously a stay away, but if I had to pick, I'm taking Phoenix just because.
The entire playoffs are a stay away at this point.
It's just crazy.
I wouldn't touch another NBA playoff. I haven't touched any, and I wouldn't touch one for my life. You don't know what the hell is going to happen. This is a crapshoot.
Yeah,
there's nothing you can figure out. The Hawks are 9-point dogs yesterday, and they win by 30.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
yeah, facts. They lose their best player.
Yeah,
and they come out the game. They're up 15.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been crazy. All right, anything else you got before we get up out of here?
Nah, man, that's it.
Who you got tonight? You taking Phoenix too?
Phoenix, yeah.
Phoenix to close.
I think I'm taking Phoenix because I want them to win. Like I don't want to see the game 7. If it goes to 7, I got the Clippers.
I think so too. I would love to see. I want Phoenix to win the whole thing. I've been saying that. Yeah. I want them to go ahead and take care of business.
I think Chris Paul winning, and even though I wasn't we didn't love Dirk, it would give me the same type feeling as Dirk winning, where it's like, man, just get this guy over the hump. Like let's just get him over the hump, because I know how they feel about it. Like, their careers are so incomplete without it. Like Dirk, that was the whole thing. It was like, man, if Dirk didn't win that title, and after he won the title, it was like, whatever, house money, I'm up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just want Chris Paul to.
If Chris Paul could put on the resume, he shows up to Phoenix. They hadn't made the playoffs in however many years, and he shows up and they win a title. That's a very, very solidifying career stamping.
It's easy. You never have to answer those questions, man. I mean, look at Barkley. Like, it's still something that's brought up all the time. Shaq, whenever Barkley's in an argument with Shaq's just like, yeah, I got 4 of them things, though. So what are we talking about here? Even Kenny's got some. You want to borrow them? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that shit, it digs at you, man. Like, you got JaVale McGee out here with like 6 rings and you got none. Like, let's shout out JaVale McGee.
Yeah, so I feel you. All right, we'll leave it on that, man. Game 6 tonight, Los Angeles, California, Staples Center. lock in. For Big Nick the Quick, I am your host, Sean Little. Make sure you subscribe everywhere, man. Like I said earlier, drop us a rating, man. Give us 5 stars. Tell us we're the best podcast you ever listened to. Tell the homie the same thing. Pass the links. Shoot them around. Oh, and if you're in Chicago, DM me. Come by the house 4th of July. We're going to get after it. Grill's going to be on. Drinks going to be flowing. I'm sure some fireworks will be going off in the area. The music will be on. Holla at me. For Big Nick the Quick, I'm your host, Sean Little. No catch up. Sports Talk via Chicago. Let's get it.